Right, so is Africa's problem spiritual or physical? This is a third edition of this discussion. Well, Dr. Ahmed Maulana, after 40 years of research into the problems of Africa, he has a position that Africa's problem is actually spiritual and no material wealth or money is ready could actually take this over. Well, let's listen to Dr. Ahmed Maulana.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, and you know, over the last couple of weeks, I've been dealing with the issue, and I think this issue is central to the heartbeat of all African people, particularly starting here in Ghana. Is our problem as Africans, is it spiritual or is it physical? Let me give some dimensions of our existence. Here we are, a people sitting on the richest piece of real estate in the world. We're sitting on gold, we're sitting on diamonds, we're sitting on oil, but yet we have to get Europeans or Chinese outsiders to come and tell us what to do. You go here, you go there, you do this, you do that. How do you explain that? That is one dimension. We are the only people in the world, the African, that do not see God Almighty in our own image.
Right.
Is that physical or is it spiritual? As a people, how can you not? I mean, your deity that you pray to, your deity that you revere, you know what I mean? How can you not see that deity in your own image? And that's why I say, I mean, we could go on and on and on. And I came to the conclusion some years ago, and I'm sharing this information now because I truthfully believe, Howard, I am on to solving a serious problem that has bedeviled the black race for over 2,500 years. I'm not saying I'm the only one on the planet that has the answer, but I've devoted my life to bringing this truth. We have a mechanism within us called telepathy. You know telepathy? Yeah. In other words, telepathy is that we can send a message, we can receive a message, because it goes back to the very scientific principle under biochemistry of melanin. Melanin, all we see is the skin. The skin is either blackened, brown, or what. But underneath the skin, there is a fluid. And that fluid is called neuropeptide. And the foundational basis of that fluid, it has electromagnetism in it. It's a black fluid. And by virtue of that electromagnetism, it is capable of absorbing, if you will, the electromagnetic rays from the sun, not only to absorb them. And we have melanocyte cells. Melanocyte cells within the bloodstream. They're in the thousands all over us. And so those cells store the electromagnetic light. Eons, you know what I mean? Ionization, like plants. Plants, photosynthesis. Plants are ionized. You know what I mean? They don't eat food, but they get their energy from the light. So I'm saying that we as African people, in the days of old when we were in control of ourselves, which we are no longer in control of ourselves now, we had this extra sensory perception where we were tuned directly into the universe with the Most High till we fell. I've said to you before, man and woman, we have two natures. We have the upper nature, which is called in Greco-Latin, sonum bonum, the highest good, meaning that we think 24/7 about God. But we also have a lower nature, and that lower nature is mischievous and beastly. You know what I'm talking about. Every listener out there know what I'm talking about. We have a lower nature, but the Creator, God Almighty, had given us divine laws and showed us, as long as you stay on the right path and adhere into the practicality of these laws, you will neutralize your lower nature. But immediately that you deviate off the right path and start doing mischievous things that are, let's say, breaking the covenant of divinity of the divine laws, that lower nature will begin to augment. And that lower nature is what I'm saying, Howard. It has finally manifested itself full blown into a physicalization. It has come out of us. It has come out of us. And biological science will bear me the witness of what I'm telling you is the truth. Saying that it's clear that if you do not follow the laws of God and you break the divine covenant with God, your lower nature will begin to augment. It will augment until it reaches a point, like I said, a threshold, and it will come out in the physical. Because we by our misbehaving, are directly responsible for the recessive gene to come out in a physicalization form. So how do we deal in bringing it like the genie? The genie has gotten out of the bag. And I'm telling you, if Bible scholars should know this. What is in the spirit, it can be manifested into the physical. What is in the spirit can be manifested out into the physical. Kul faya kum. It can be done.
Definitely.
And I begin to get off the right path. The lower nature began to augment.
Dominate.
Yeah, it was a gradual. It didn't happen overnight. These things took hundreds, if not thousands of years. And then the lower nature at a given point in time manifested itself through the genome of the black woman and the black man. And what I am saying today, this is where we pick up in history for the first time of the Indo-Aryan white race coming on the planet. They come out of us, and biological science will bear me witness that I am telling you the facts in truth. Exactly. They come out of the gene of the black man and the black woman.
So can this be reversed, Dr. Maulana?
It can be reversed.
Le blanc est sorti du noir à la suite d'un processus d'adaptation à un climat froid. Et cela, tous les spécialistes aujourd'hui le savent dans leur fort intérieur, même s'ils ne le disent pas avec autant de netteté.
It is very clear to all of the scientists involved in this field, even if they are only able to say it within themselves and unable to say it publicly, that the man that we know conventionally to be a white man evolved from a black man over a period of some 20,000 years of adaptation to a different climate. And if we are to say with any serenity, resting totally on scientific data, that is the conclusion that we must come to.